It's Wednesday of Passion Week, and Jesus is at Bethany resting. Some people call Wednesday Silent Wednesday, but there were definitely some things going on. Probably the most noteworthy thing that took place on Wednesday is Judas Iscariot's plan to betray Jesus. I just don't understand this. In Luke chapter 22, verses 1 through 6, Luke records the festival of unleavened bread, which is also called Passover, was approaching. The leading priests and teachers of religious law were plotting how to kill Jesus, but they were afraid of the people's reaction. Then Satan entered into Judas Iscariot, who was one of the 12 disciples, and he went to the leading priests and the captains of the temple guard to discuss the best way to betray Jesus to them. They were delighted and they promised to give him money. So he agreed and began looking for an opportunity to betray Jesus so they could arrest him when the crowds weren't around. You got to wonder why Judas was used by Satan to betray Jesus. But I think if we look a little further at who Judas was, we'll find out that he already had compromised his character and was not really a true believer in Jesus. Money was his God. John records in chapter 12 of his gospel in the New Testament what Judas was really like. While in Bethany at Mary and Martha and Lazarus' house, Mary came and anointed Jesus' feet with some very expensive perfume. Then in verse 4, it says, "But Judas Iscariot, the disciple who soon betrayed him, said, 'That perfume was worth a year's wages. It should have been sold and the money given to the poor.'" Not that he cared for the poor, he was a thief. And since he was in charge of the disciples' money, he often stole some for himself. This was Jesus' last opportunity to be with his friends and his disciples before everything would change. Judas should have been with the rest of the disciples, enjoying this time together at Bethany. But instead, he was out making clandestine plans against Jesus, betraying him for 30 pieces of silver. Some people have called Wednesday Spy Wednesday because Judas was out looking for a place and a way to betray Jesus. I want to think that Wednesday was a special time for Jesus and his disciples and his friends. Thursday, everything will change. But it's Wednesday of Passion Week, and Jesus is resting while Judas is plotting.